The Faro Plague. The cause of total extinction of all life on Earth in just over 1 year's time is a tragedy so colossal that it's hard to entirely comprehend. In hindsight, this regrettably could have been avoided entirely. If Ted Faro had not insisted that the Chariot line was ostensibly unhackable, they could have been deactivated remotely. If no biomass conversion technology had been present in the swarm, they possibly could have been held at bay until they no longer had fuel to function. Or if they lacked the capability of self-replication, the combined force of the world's military might have been enough to entirely eliminate the threat before the plague could overtake the world. However, this fatal combination would ultimately lead to the end of all life on Earth. One option that is often discussed that could have potentially ended the swarm before it had a chance to spread is the use of nuclear weapons. Surely, if addressed early enough, weapons of mass destruction could have destroyed the rogue swarm before it had really taken root. In theory, this could have prevented the apocalypse. So, why wasn't this action taken? Simply put, by the time serious warning signs appeared, signs that would have warranted the use of nuclear weapons, the fate of humanity was already far past the point of no return. Hypothetically, Ted Faro would have had to recognize the severity of the situation at least around 2062, 2 years prior to when he would have his first meeting to address the problem with Dr. Elizabeth Sobeck. Furthermore, he would have had to convince a world superpower to use the nuclear option in an area with numerous civilians, most likely not even their own. Also at the time, it would be on the grounds of an instance the severity of which was the equivalent to a Faro bot consuming numerous mangoes for fuel. Hardly considered apocalyptic behavior at the time, and the reason why no such action would be taken. With this established, the question for many would be, why not use nukes to at least slow down the progress of the swarm, buying more time for Zero Dawn? A reasonable question, and it would appear that the nuclear option was used during enduring victory, or at the very least, remained on the table as the plague closed in. This is evident from the excerpt from data point, Biosphere Degradation. Military Response Escalation. Addenda linked to this document cover the short-term effects of scorched earth engagements in defense of the western seaboard and the ongoing effects of the Oceanic Economic Zone's use of nuclear weapons to delay the enemy's initial advance across the Pacific theater. To what degree these weapons of mass destruction were used is unfortunately vague at best. For those involved in the defense of humanity, under the pretense victory was possible, it wouldn't seem too far-fetched they would want to be quite liberal in their use of nuclear weapons. This, however, for those who knew extinction was inevitable, had to weigh how the impact of nuclear fallout would affect the eventual terraforming goals of Project Zero Dawn. This is apparent from the passage from Data Point Counselor Guidelines 1, as candidates for Zero Dawn were debriefed on the terrible truth of the world's fate. It is essential to stress that all other options for combating the Faro Plague and preserving the continuation of human life have been considered and found unworkable. Communicate this fact calmly, but clearly and firmly. Familiarize yourself with data on the catastrophic environmental impact of nuclear engagements versus the swarm, Addendum B1, and infeasibility of maintaining life in orbital, lunar, or undersea structures, Addenda C1, C2, C3, so that you can counter candidates' objections in depth. Regardless, it's a hard pill to swallow that even the mightiest weapons of man, the culmination of our scientific prowess as a species, would hardly put a dent against the instruments of our own destruction, and might have even compromised Zero Dawn's chances of returning life once more. And that brings this chronicle to a close. If you'd like to see more content like this, likes and shares are always appreciated, and if you really like what we're doing at the channel, come join our community and hit that subscribe button. Do you have a strategy that would combat the Faro Swarm? Let us know in the comments down below. And until next time, thanks for watching, and keep questing.